Good morning, LJ. Here we are recording again for our Wednesday weekly chat. How are you doing this morning?
Very well. How are you?
Good, good, good. I think this morning we are going to talk about a saboteur that's so pervasive that a lot of people are going to relate to. But before we jump in, let's do some quick introductions. I'm Lark Ambrose. I'm a mindset coach. I am a mental fitness trainer and an accountability partner. I help people who are taking major steps, making major transitions, do so with less stress. LJ?
Wonderful. My name is LJ Vio, and I am a coach who focuses in on two areas. One, helping managers be the leaders that their teams need them to be, and also helping people build their self-awareness so that they have more awareness of others, and that helps have better interactions.
Awesome. And I think that LJ is what kind of links us and connected us from the earlies, that desire to help people become more self-aware through these lives and audio events and videos that we post. So thank you for taking this journey with me. Off we go. Every week we address a new personality trait or behavior when it's effective and when it's in an overextended state. And then we look at what the corresponding negative thinking pattern is. So LJ and I are both coaches, and when we get together on these events, we speak through the lenses of, in my case, mental fitness, and in LJ's case, through the lens of Luminous Spark. Not saying that those are the only tools that we use, but for the purposes of these deliveries, those are the tools that we choose to work with and show how they intertwine so beautifully. So this week, we are talking about the victim saboteur. And the title for this week is Woe is Me. Woe is me. And I'm reminded of a shout out to an old friend. Her mantra was woe is me, wow is me. I kind of had like that. Anyway, shout out to you, T. I hope you're doing well. All right. So when our saboteurs are overused, what's happening is we are abusing some underlying strengths, right? So when I use the term saboteur, that's a mental fitness language, and it represents negative thinking patterns. It drives behaviors that don't serve us. So when I say saboteur, that's what I'm talking about. So that was a little bit of fitness 101. Yeah. LJ, what Lumina effective personality quality does that align with?
It's so interesting. This is the first saboteur that I have not found a close alignment with the Luminous Spark quality. Luminous Spark measures 24 qualities, and we've covered, this will be our 10th saboteur that we've talked about. Have found alignment for every single one except for this one. And the reason is that Luminous Spark is based on Jungian psychology and the big five personality traits. And it measures for the big five. It doesn't measure neuroticism, and the victim mentality is associated with neuroticism. The ones that it does measure, extroversion, openness experience, or openness to experience, conscientiousness, and agreeableness. And what's interesting about Luminous Spark is that it measures on both sides. It measures directly on both sides of those. So it measures extroversion and introversion, measures agreeableness and lack of agreeableness. And so this is different than some of the other personality assessments because many of the others just measure on one side and make the assumption on the other. But we're more complicated than that, right? I'm an extrovert, but I'm also an introvert. Many people are like that. We can be highly logical and quite empathetic. So it explores those paradoxes in three different personas. So your relaxed or PJ state, it measures in your everyday state, and those both are the effective ones that you just mentioned. And then the overextended state, and that's the stress state. And that's usually where I find a link with a saboteur.
Right.
and what we've been working on. So yeah, this one doesn't seem to have. So we're not going to talk about a overextension today, and we'll just keep going with the victim saboteur.
Right.
So you mentioned some of the strengths. What are some of the not so helpful characteristics of a victim saboteur?
Yeah, I think I just want to highlight again some of the strengths of someone who has a victim saboteur or who is oftentimes hijacked by their victim saboteur. I want to just highlight that these people are incredibly introspective. They tend to be deep thinkers. You know, they're very into the self-discovery. They appreciate the uniqueness of themselves and of others. What makes me unique? What makes you unique? What makes you tick? So those are some of the positives. Now, when this goes into saboteur zone, a person can end up feeling misunderstood if they're criticized. They may tend to withdraw. They may pout and sulk. You know, they can be fairly dramatic and temperamental. When things get tough, they may want to crumble and just give up. So that victim saboteur is not serving. It's taking what should be beautiful qualities into overdrive, where it's no longer serving. Now, when this happens over and over, when this is a chronic state, you're chronically tired. There is that repressed rage, and it can end up in extreme cases in depression, in apathy, not serving, very unhealthy. There is an unconscious attachment to having difficulties. So yeah, that's some of the behavior, some of the thought patterns that are going on with someone who is hijacked by their victim saboteur. So yeah.
Okay. What are some of the other thoughts that the victim saboteur seems to elicit?
Yeah, things like, you know, the woe is me, poor me, you know, no one understands me. Terrible things are always happening to me. Then there is I might be uniquely disadvantaged or flawed, you know. There is a lack of appreciation that you're not what you feel. You're feeling one thing, but you are something else. A person who is truly in a hijacked state is thinking, I am what I feel. It's not even a conscious thought. It's an underlying belief, if you will. I am what I feel. It's hard to differentiate those two. And then you can have someone who ultimately is waiting to be rescued, you know, who's waiting to be rescued. I wish someone would rescue me from this dreary mess. Those are some of the thoughts that might be going on. Yeah.
It sounds like, you know, there's a filtering or a lens of anything negative is on me, is happening to me. Okay.
Yeah, it's very personalizing. Yeah.
What's it like to be around a victim saboteur? What's the impact on the person, but also on other people?
Yeah, that is just such an important question. And it's one where I think we can really sit and spend a little bit of time exploring. Because I feel that this is one a lot of people can relate to. And for whatever reason, when we do these saboteur assessments, it's the one that people are surprised of finding in themselves. And it's one that we seem to have a lot of shame and guilt over. And so anyone who has tested highly on the victim saboteur, what I really want to urge you to consider is that all saboteurs are equal. They're equal opportunity saboteurs. None's worse than the other. They are each not serving in certain ways. When someone is hijacked in that victim mentality about, oh, bad things are always happening to me, and you're feeling all of the depth of those negative emotions that are not serving, you are now trending to isolation because poor me, no one's going to understand me. I'm not going to talk to anyone. You're going to withdraw. So now you're brooding. All of that energy and time could be focused on problem solving, but it's not, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of vitality is wasted through focusing on the internal processing and the brooding. Impact on others. Others are going to feel frustrated. They're feeling helpless. They don't know how to help you because there's never enough comforting. There is never enough helping you get through. They may feel like they're putting a little band-aid on this gushing wound because there's no ever solving that pain. So it can be quite a challenge. It can be quite a challenge, not just for the person experiencing it, that helplessness, and that feeling of guilt. It's exhausting for the person experiencing it, but it's also difficult for the people around. And also, I think it's important to also throw in here, sometimes we may be the victim of circumstances. We may feel like we are the victim of circumstances. And I'll just throw one quick example in. Years ago, it took me a while to realize I had been scammed out of tens of thousands of dollars, US dollars. And I lost a lot of time grieving over that and feeling victimized. I mean, I was the victim of a scam, and it was hurtful. I spent so much time wallowing in that and just losing myself for periods of time before I was able to confront what had happened and proactively now do something about it. So this can show up in so many different ways, So I am owning that, yes, I do have a strong victim saboteur. I have been working on my strong victim saboteur. And when I look at when, quote unquote, bad things happen, what I can now do is, because I'm aware that that saboteur is lurking right there, I know what I need to do to get myself into that space to process what's going on and what is going to serve me best. How can I show up better and differently? So I just wanted to throw that out there and just illustrate a real life example. And next week when we do our live, I'm hoping that we really have strong interaction. People are willing to come up and share, because there's so much more to that story that I'd love to share and help people see the journey, and to really tap into the knowledge and wisdom and own that it is possible to move through these things. It's not a life sentence, a death sentence. It's not an end all and be all. It's just another saboteur. It's just another saboteur.
Thank you for that share. That's very powerful. And I'm curious in terms of how when we can talk about it in the live, or you can share now, but I'm curious how your frame of mind, your positivity, and your how it impacted your life to have worked through it.
Definitely. I think we will save that. We're about 13 minutes in.
Okay.
So I think we are going to have a great conversation next audio live on LinkedIn, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the LinkedIn platform. We are going to have a conversation this time about the victim saboteur, which I think is going to be a rich one. So before we totally run out of time, let me invite you to share some quotes. We always love to leave people with quotes. It brings things alive so well. So what quotes do you have for us this week?
So I have 3 today. 2 of them are from Unknown, very prolific writer. Some people create their own storms and then get mad when it rains. Now that might be a little hard for some people to hear. That, what do you mean I'm causing my own rain?
Right.
But we'll talk a bit more about that. The other one from Unknown is, you only get to be a victim once. After that, you're a volunteer.
I think we'll leave them just with those 2. And also, in the language of mental fitness, we always speak about the hand on the hot stove. And so I really want us to reflect on that and see, hand on the hot stove, how does that tie in? So with that, thank everybody for listening, and see you on the live next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.